What up, fam? I am Dr. De Luna, and you are listening to Drop It Like It's Doc podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all about prenatal vitamins because it's a wild, wild world of supplements out there. And even as a naturopathic doctor, it can get overwhelming. So I want to give you some tools and tips as far as what to look for in a prenatal, some prenatals that I love, and also I'm going to just tell you exactly what I've been taking to grow this baby. So if you've been with me on this journey, you know that preconception starts way before you are even thinking about having a baby. Because if you are an egg bearer, it takes 3 to 4 months for that egg that is going to be ovulated to be fertilized, to mature, that will then be fertilized to make your baby. So you need to start thinking about these things minimum 3 to 4 months before you are going to have a baby. Because a question I get all the time is, do I really need to be taking a prenatal vitamin? Even before I'm pregnant or while I'm pregnant, do I need to be taking one? I eat really well, I eat this and that and this and whatever. And the hard truth is yes. You do need to be taking a prenatal. I strongly think that you do. And that is because our food supply is muy mal. It's not good here. Our soil is very depleted, not to mention that you're probably on a medication, or maybe you have been on something like birth control that depletes a lot of your vitamins and minerals, or maybe you're one of my female patients that thinks it's okay to intermittent fast or just starve herself all day. So needless to say, you're probably very nutrient depleted even going into the preconception period. And let me just say, as someone who is growing a human, this baby steals everything from you. Steals your vitamins, your minerals, your energy. They're gonna steal everything. So the preconception period is very important to build up your nutrient stores, but then the prenatal that you're on is critical to maintaining all of those nutrients, but also making sure that you have everything to grow your developing little baby. Super important for you and baby. There are so many studies out there that show that certain vitamins and minerals are critical for not only conception, fertility, to decrease risk of miscarriage, but also things like pregnancy outcomes, things like preterm labor, things like postpartum depression, things like autism in your child. So I think that in order to make sure that you are having the healthiest pregnancy, the healthiest postpartum, the healthiest baby, it's important that you take your supplementation seriously. You know this because I speak to this a lot, that supplements in this country are not regulated. So it is really important that you're not just getting something over the counter, because something over the counter, it's probably just garbage. Might even have colors in it. Like you can't do a Flintstones vitamin and think that you're doing good for yourself. It's better than nothing, maybe. I would argue that that might not be true, but also you need to take quality seriously. So I'm gonna walk you through some essential things to look for in a prenatal, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm taking, and I'm also gonna give you some insights if maybe you don't need some of the things as well, because a big part of this journey is customizing it to you. So before you even think about taking high doses of X, Y, or Z, you need to know if you even need it. For instance, vitamin D. That's something that you want at least at 30 nanograms per deciliter. I would say closer to 60 for optimal health, but at least at 30, because if you're really low in that, a prenatal is not going to get you to the point that you need to be at. What if you're super iron deficient? A lot of prenatals don't even have iron. So things like this I'm going to walk you through, absolutely. So first and foremost is that many supplements are using very cheap processed forms of vitamins and minerals. For instance, folic acid, you may have heard, is important for a developing nervous system, and vitamin B9 is very important for a developing nervous system, which is also kind of trippy because the nervous system is developing super early on in pregnancy, where some people don't even know that they're pregnant. So making sure that you have enough of these nutrients in stores is critical for that process to take place. But also folic acid is a synthetic form of folate. It is not great for you. So you need to, if you're looking at the back of a prenatal bottle, if it says folic acid, just know that I wouldn't approve of it. I would say no to that. What you're looking for is methylfolate. Yes, you are. L-methylfolate, anything like that, very similar. And the reason why that's important is because it's an active form of vitamin B9. Many of us have a genetic variation called MTHFR, which I get lots of feared emails and things about this all the time from my patients saying, oh my goodness, do I have the SNP? Can we test for it? What am I gonna do? High risk of X, Y, or Z? What you do is take an active form of that vitamin, because the whole issue with something like MTHFR is that your body might have an issue activating and getting those vitamins into a usable form. So if you're just getting them in the highest quality form, that is perfect. Vitamin B9, essential, you need it. Folic acid, not ideal, okay? Vitamin B12, this is another thing that if you're looking on the back of your multivitamin, there's a good chance that if it says cyanocobalamin, I'm just gonna say, please, no, that is not acceptable. And the reason why that is not acceptable is because vitamin B12, which is cobalamin, and cyanocobalamin, that is cyanide. That is cyanide bound to cobalamin. That is disgusting. Please do not give yourself cyanide in your baby. Yes, the government will say it's low enough that it doesn't matter. What? What planet do we live on that we put cyanide in our vitamins and tell our pregnant mamas, or anyone for that matter, that it doesn't influence anything? I don't know. You could take me on a wild journey there. Just please no, please no. So there's lots of different forms of B12 that are much more acceptable, like methylcobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, hydroxycobalamin, way better than cyanide. Let me tell you that. Yes, it is. Some of you are going to need iron. Some of you are not going to need iron. So in your prenatal, I would honestly recommend that you have one without iron, because I know for me, I didn't have one with iron, but I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted first trimester. I must be anemic. I've tended towards anemia in the past. I started taking iron. My first blood draw, babes, like, whoa, I had way too much iron. You don't want too much iron. And for some people, iron can influence the gut, and it can also, just based on the way that minerals absorb, it can influence absorption of things like zinc and copper and manganese and other things that you need, like calcium. So if you don't need to be supplementing with iron, then don't take it. If you're a vegan and don't eat anything red meat, yeah, you probably need it. But still, this is something that I would almost even want to find out before I got pregnant. What is my iron like? You could tell that I did not do that. Correct, I did not. But for you, you're gonna do better than me. You are going to learn from my mistakes. And I would definitely check in to see what your iron is like, so that you know if you need to supplement with it or not. So again, would probably get a prenatal that didn't have it, just to err on the side of caution. You could take it separately. And also it's kind of nice to take iron outside of that prenatal, just because then you're not influencing the absorption piece of those other minerals I was talking about. And if it's an iron that is like a ferrous sulfate, that is usually not easy on the tummy. You want an iron bisglycinate, an iron chelate, something like that. Much easier on digestion. It doesn't lead to stomach upset, nausea, constipation, things like that. You'll have enough of that first trimester anyway. So you don't want that because of your iron supplement. Vitamin B6, if you watched my first trimester episode, you know that I'm a huge fan of that for morning sickness and nausea. Vitamin B6, across the board, I find deficiencies in so many of my patients. In a lot of prenatals, they don't have quite enough at all. I would recommend, honestly, like 100 milligrams of vitamin B6 a day. That you're really not going to find that in a lot of prenatals, so I actually have that separately. I'm going to show you everything that I take in a little bit. Along the same vein is choline. So some prenatals do have choline. Choline is something that's found in eggs and animal fat and things like animal liver, but you're probably not eating a lot of those at this point. And even if you are, choline has been shown to be magical for neurodevelopment for your little bibbit. So you want to make sure that you're getting that in excess almost. You want to make sure that you have a lot of that in your body. So some prenatals do not have it at all. So I would highly recommend getting one that does have choline, or getting additional choline on the side that you can supplement with, especially if you are someone that does not eat eggs. Because also something with animal liver, it can be a source of heavy metal toxins and environmental toxins. So it's something that if you are choosing to go that route for some of your micronutrients and whatnot, you want to be mindful that they're getting really screened and third-party tested. Because again, you don't want to just be getting supplements over the counter. They are not high quality. You want these third-party tested vitamins. You want them to be able to give you toxicology reports to tell you exactly what's in them. And you want them to work. Because even on the back of every vitamin, people say this to me all the time. They say, oh, but it has 3,000% of my RDA. RDA is your recommended daily intake for just a human to survive on this planet. It does not take into account pregnancy. It does not take into account nutritional needs. It does not take into account optimal. So even if it has a really high percentage on the back of the bottle, it's honestly probably not enough, truly. You also need to make sure that you're getting all of your minerals. You need zinc. Super important for fertility and growing a human. You need things like iodine. Yes, you do. Iodine is something that your thyroid really needs. Thyroid is really important for growth and development of your body as you grow new organs in a new human, but also your little babylina, important for cognitive development, thyroid health, all of these things. But with iodine, you need to be careful. Because say that you're taking a supplement for your thyroid, or you're taking a supplement also for breast health. A lot of the times they have that in it. Sometimes you could go too high and it can actually suppress thyroid function. So I would say you don't really want to go higher than 200 in something like a prenatal vitamin. And also just know that all your supplements are adding up. So it's important to work with someone one-on-one. Didn't say that in the beginning, but I would definitely recommend working with someone one-on-one on all of these things. Some other minerals that you need are things like copper and selenium and manganese. You're growing a whole skeleton in there. Whoa. Teeth, fingernails, hair, minerals, you need it all. Most prenatal vitamins don't have omega-3 fatty acids in them, which are essential for not only fertility, truly amazing for fertility, hormone balancing, mental health, but also critical for growing your baby's brain and their nervous system and for their cognitive health. And also there's studies showing that it really helps with things like postpartum depression, even things like gestational diabetes. So I would recommend getting an omega-3 on board. Again, it's usually not in abundance in a prenatal vitamin, so then you will want to supplement with that separately. So let me mentally run through, because a prenatal is going to have things like your vitamin A, B, C, all of those. Probably not enough D, probably not enough omegas. You don't want the iron. You want more choline. I think I covered most of the bases here. And with a prenatal, you're taking them before you're getting pregnant, right? Minimum 3 months. I would say closer to 6 months. You're also taking a fish oil during that time, but then you're taking it your whole pregnancy, you're taking it postpartum, and you're taking it a couple months after you're done breastfeeding because the baby's gonna suck the life out of you. Yes, they are. And you wanna replete your nutrient deficiencies and your nutrient stores so that you feel your best during that time, so that you can heal and also show up as a mama. But with that being said, dad should be taking prenatals too before you make a baby because they're making half of this human. How can I not say this? Can we take a moment for my shirt? Can we please take a moment for my shirt? This is my firstborn, Casey. She was the star of episode 50. She cannot wait to meet her little sister. But I just need you all to admire the shirt. And if you are just listening to this, know that every episode has video. Yes, it does. And you can watch me in real time. You can watch me giggle. You can watch all the silly things that I do with my hands because I am a New Yorker. And you can admire this shirt, which is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, to be honest. I am obsessed with this masterpiece. You can also leave in the comments which is your favorite Casey. It's hard for me to tell which is my favorite Casey. They're all my favorite Casey. Okay, perfect. Now that we have that out of the way, I will talk about some of the supplements that I am personally taking. And know that there's a lot of different forms that you could take these prenatals in because you're gonna be nauseous during your first trimester. You might be puking a lot during maybe your whole pregnancy, hopefully not, but likely in your first trimester, it's gonna be something that you grapple with. So some of you are not gonna wanna swallow a lot of pills. Some of you would rather do a powder. Some of you would rather make a smoothie and get them in that way. Whatever works for you works. And that's something that you and your provider can talk about, your midwife, your naturopath, whatever, to try to find something that can give you a good fit. There's a couple brands that I know and love, and I'll talk about why I chose to talk about them. And you could also find them on my Fullscript store or online. But again, you're not buying them from Amazon because Amazon doesn't sell good supplements. Right, Eric? Love you. Inside joke with my producer. We share an Amazon. And whenever he has supplements in there, I'm like, Eric, no, you cannot. So you want them from a medical dispensary. So my favorite prenatal is the Optimal Prenatal from Seeking Health. This and Needed are very high up on the ranks for me. I'm gonna talk about Needed too. I love this prenatal because it has a little bit of everything in there. It has active forms of B12 and B9, also has all the minerals that you need, but I think my favorite part of this is that it also has some liver support in here, a lot of antioxidants, because liver support can be really helpful for processing your supplements, first of all, but also just for fertility and for hormone balancing and for all the first trimester nausea and things like that. The dose is 8 capsules a day. Some people are like, I can't do that. But you know, if you're pregnant, you should be eating all day. You should be eating all day. So if you are, you can split up the dose into a couple different, portions. 2 caps here, 2 caps there. I don't know. That's what I do. It also doesn't have iron, which is good because, again, I was in basically iron overload, so we don't need that. What I don't love about it is that it does not have choline. That is where Needed does shine a little bit. Needed is another great brand. It was actually formulated by one of my friends, a naturopath. We love her. I don't have it on hand or else I would show you it. But there is choline in that one. So that's the main difference there. The dose is still 8 caps though. But regardless, even the Needed, while it does have choline, I think you still need more. So let me show you the choline. I would recommend, honestly, taking at least 500 milligrams of choline a day. There are studies that show that upwards of even like 800, 900 milligrams are really helpful for cerebral health, cognitive development, things like that. You do get it in eggs. You do get it in organs. But again, I mean, some of you are going to be disgusted by eggs. I eat like 5 hard-boiled eggs a day. I'm not joking. It's kind of gross. I smell like eggs. My office always smells like eggs. I have to apologize to my patients. I'm like, I'm sorry, I literally just shoved 5 eggs down my goblet. So yeah, just wanted to let you know that. Thought you would find that interesting. But big fan of choline. Needed choline is great. Also, I wanted to show you that Seeking Health, which is the prenatal that I'm currently taking, they also have powders. This one has collagen in it, which is really nice because we need to get extra protein. So for me, if I'm on the go, which I was before I recorded this podcast, I just poured one of these into my little smoothie maker, put some fruit in there, an avocado, some nuts, and then I whipped up a little prenatal smoothie. Honestly, the taste sometimes is a lot. That's something you need to consider too, because it's vanilla flavored. We're all gonna have different things that feel good for us and don't feel good for us when you're pregnant. And this vanilla flavor sometimes is like a little much for me. So I had to cover it up with, some passion fruit and stuff like that. But you might love it. It might taste like vanilla ice cream for you, and it might be the only way that you can get it in. I don't know. Just wanted to let you know it's an option. I am also taking high-dose vitamin B6. I've been taking this for a while, just for mental health, fertility, really great for boosting progesterone, really great for making neurotransmitters. Your liver needs vitamin B6 for detox, but it's also magical for morning sickness, and it's something that one of these bottles has 150 capsules in here, so it lasts you like 5-something months. So I love this. And this is 250 milligrams. And most prenatals, let me just tell you what this one has for reference, has only 20. And it's like it's 1,000% of the daily value. Yeah, but you could definitely benefit from more. Something else that I love about this prenatal that I didn't say is that it has 4,000 IUs of vitamin D, which is actually a pretty good dose. A lot of prenatals don't. They might only have 1,000, and that's not necessarily enough to create a happy environment or to correct a deficiency. So it's really important for you to evaluate that before you even get pregos, so that you know if you need to take more. I do not need to take more. That's a perfect dose for me. I'm also taking fish oil. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I love Omegagenics. I love them because they're really high quality and they don't taste like fish. They actually smell like rosemary. They smell fresh. Let me give it a sniff. It smells good. Like, it honestly smells good. Says the pregnant woman that could throw up at any horrible smell, literally. Yeah, it smells like rosemary and lemon. Phenomenal. So it's the Omegagenics Neuro 1000, and it has high doses of DHA and EPA. Both of those are omega-3 fatty acids. If you are vegan, you can also get something like a algae source. I almost said sardine source. That wouldn't work. That's still a fish. But you can get an algae source because then that will help with a plant-based source, but also you're gonna have to dose it a lot higher because this has 750 milligrams of DHA, 250 milligrams of EPA. Both of those are really important. Both of those types of omega-3s are really important, but DHA is really important for a developing brain, which You're growing a brain. Sometimes I just think about this body and I think about that right now I have 2 hearts. Right now I have 4 lungs. Right now I have 2 livers. Like right now I have 2 brains. Wild. Absolutely wild. So all supplements are not created equally. You know this if you've been listening to this podcast. You know that I don't think that you could just walk into CVS and buy a supplement that's going to work for you. I really don't. A lot of them even have additives and things in it. If you look at their other ingredients, there's a lot of just questionable things in there that I don't know if I would put in my body. So it's really important that you find a provider that you know and that you trust, or just a source that you can buy high quality vitamins for. I will link my store in the comments. Obviously, I get some incentive to share with you, so it's not like I can tell you that I don't get a benefit. I do, but also you get a benefit because you get trusted supplements and you get 10% off, boo, which is fabulous. So if you and your partner are thinking about making a little bun, both of you should be on a high quality multivitamin. You can do all the preconception work that we talk about on this podcast in general. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's because you haven't subscribed yet and you haven't liked it and you haven't shared it. So please do all of those things with the beautiful humans in your world. But also, once you are pregnant, you need to be taking the prenatal the whole time. You really do. Postpartum, you should be taking it for a couple months. If you're breastfeeding, the whole time, even a couple months after that. And if you know someone that is expecting and someone that is really confused about why they should take a certain prenatal or what a doctor's favorite are, you heard them. They're the optimal prenatal and the needed prenatal. So please share this with them, because this information is something that I find really valuable and very helpful. And I want you to grow a perfect baby, and I want you to have a perfect pregnancy, and I want you to have a healthy, happy family. So thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me share what I've learned along the way and what I'm swallowing every day in my body. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below so that we can chat about them. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the shirt.